and get everything rolling here. So let me do that, and then let me share my screen. Everybody able to see our welcome slide?
Yep.
Yep. Yes.
All right. So we'll go ahead
Where's the slide at?
and
I said, yo.
and I'm going to turn off transcription or hide transcription, I think. Oh, there comes somebody else. We'll start transcription, but we'll hide it. Learning how to use all these fancy Microsoft features that they have for us.
I'm so ready.
Awesome. Thanks, Gaylord.
Come on.
All right, so here's our agenda for our meeting today. Welcome and introductions. Then we'll jump into the latest from Dynamics user groups. Also want to just mention a couple other SoCal events that are going on for the Dynamics channel. Hoping to see you there. I think Michelle and I are both speaking at one of those. And then our three topics for technical side today: Copilot features with Business Central, looking at Power Automate in your business processes, and then wrapping up with a latest solution from Microsoft, the Business Performance Plan, and taking a quick look at that. And then we'll wrap up with user group planning. So let me make sure I've admitted everybody here so far. Yeah, looks good. So to start off with, just want to introduce you to the SoCal leadership team. My name's Dan Edwards. I've been leading this group here for a few years. We've had a few of these virtual meetings in the past. I have been in the Dynamics channel. We'll just go with as long as Dynamics has been in the channel to be around. I'm a managing director at Crowe, where I work on our finance, analytics, power platform side. Also an adjunct professor at Vanguard University, where I teach accounting systems. So Michelle, you want to go ahead and actually, I'm going to jump ahead, so I'll make sure I cover everything for us on the introduction. So our relationship with Dynamics, I'm a partner. I mentioned pretty much every Dynamics product. And then I always like to throw in a fun favorite. Since it's the holidays, what's your favorite holiday dessert? And I'm going to have to go with my wife's peanut butter balls. It just doesn't seem like Christmas if I don't get her chocolate covered peanut butter balls. So with that, just jump back here. Michelle joined me. Michelle and Naveen both joined me recently to help lead this group. So Michelle, why don't you go ahead and give your introduction?
Sure. Hi, guys. So I've worked in the Dynamics community about 12 or 13 years or so. I started as a GP end user, and after the implementation, ended up joining a partner because I just loved the product, and then moved over to Business Central when Microsoft was going through the original testing phases as Project Madeira. So I've been on it since the very beginning, and led the ERP team overseeing GP and Business Central at Trunorth for the last 6 years, and made a recent move to the Director of Ideation Strategy. So I am now helping define our growth within the Dynamics channel itself, rather than just focusing on one product. I'm focusing on the whole suite. So today I'll be speaking specifically on Business Central.
And your favorite holiday dessert? My
favorite holiday dessert is probably just good old sugar cookies, especially hot right out of the oven, still too not hard, not crunchy, like the ones that kind of flop over because they're not quite cooked all the way. Those are my favorites.
Awesome. All right, Naveen.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dan, for introducing me to the leadership team. And again, thanks, Liz, for giving the opportunity again. I'm Naveen. I work with Dynamics eShop, which is a ISV, and I've been in the channel for 22 years. I think I started with Navision 2.1 in 2002. So I've been working from then in the channel. So I've been in different roles like programmer, developer, implementer, and primarily focused in the Business Central, but focused in the F&O world. And now we are focusing more in the power stuff also. So we kind of do different areas. So I have some experience in these three areas. So hopefully my experience will add some value to the group when we meet virtually or on site. And again, I think my favorite dessert is it's more hot chocolate fudge cake with some vanilla ice cream.
Ooh.
So it's not that healthy, but I think just for holidays, I think I'm all in with the sugars.
Yeah, I'm starting to rethink that option here of my question, because I think by the time I get through this whole list, I'm going to be craving some desserts. So,
No, I know that's the wrong one, especially
yeah,
we've been
yeah,
eating so much.
I think I'm gonna have to run to the pantry for some cookies or something. Well, we are lucky to have Liz from Dynamics User Group joining us. So Liz, why don't we have you go ahead and introduce yourself next?
Sure. Thank you so much, Dan, and all of our wonderful leaders. So my name is Liz Hallen. I am with Dynamics User Group. You're the host company behind the Doug Meetup program and many other things, which we'll learn about a little bit later. I am not an end user, a partner, or an ISV. We are a community organization and have all of the products under our purview. Me specifically, I have been in the Dynamics and channel since it's been over 24 years, primarily working with community and user groups. My favorite holiday dessert is my grandma's sour cream twists, which you may not know what that is, but it is essentially a cinnamon and sugar bread that's twisted with cream cheese frosting.
Sounds delicious.
So delicious. Yes.
Sounds delicious. All right, well, I'm just gonna head down the attendee list here, probably just in the alphabetical order it's got there. So we'll jump over to Colton if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Colton. I'm part of the Dynamics eShop team here as well. I'm one of the partner account executives. So I'm joining today for moral support for Krushitha. I know she's speaking today, and just listening in the background on all the new news and Power Automate.
Awesome. And favorite, not getting away without a dessert.
Ooh, favorite dessert. I mean, I want to steal the ice cream one, but if I were to do something original, every Christmas we always make cookies, me and my family. Okay. So that would probably be my favorite Christmas dessert, some sentimental value there.
All right, sounds good. We'll jump to Derek.
Oh, well, thank you. This is my first time to the group. I've been in Southern California for 22 years. On the Microsoft side, I've been with, started with Exapta, and that turned into AX. And Microsoft acquired that product, and I've mainly focused on supply chain and redesigning supply chains for manufacturing companies. Also deploying, started with CRM 4.0, so that's kind of date myself a little bit there. So I've been using that throughout the lifespan of that product since 4.0. I have a healthcare business where we have a software built on top of the Dataverse and Power Apps and Power BI and SharePoint, the whole thing like that, and doing some custom solutions for it to go on top of the cloud for healthcare. So I'm into a little bit of everything, but my main focus is healthcare with Dynamics.
Great. And your favorite dessert?
Favorite dessert? Since I'm originally Canadian, I guess the Nanaimo bars is a favorite one. So kind of unique. Most people don't know about it down here, I don't think.
Okay. Sounds good. And Fabian.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much. Well, this is my first time in the group too. I work with a company in Colombia right now. and we export oil, palm oil. So we are trying to change the actual CRM and ERP solution that we have to Dynamics. So I'm looking forward to understand how are the, I don't know, maybe the things that other people have done with their companies and maybe the experiences that they have. So I can learn from them and try to design a good solution for my company. So that's why I don't use any dynamic products here right now, but we use Microsoft 365 in the company. And we already use SharePoint and Azure and Teams and everything. So I think that people is familiarized so far with the solutions. And I think that maybe the technological change, it's going to be easy for us. I hope so, at least. And my favorite holiday dessert, well, in Colombia, we call like a candy sweet, we call it arequipe. So it's the ice cream of arequipe. I don't know how to say that. And I think that maybe in USA, you don't find arequipe. In Spain, also, I think people can find it. It's like candy sweet or milk sweet or something like that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. And we'll jump to Gaylord.
I think they just said they're stepping away for a moment.
Oh, okay. Krushitha, yes. Krushitha, you're on mute.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, we hear you now.
Awesome, great. This is my first event as well. I am part of the Dynamics eShop group here in Southern California. I've been part of the community for over 15 years, but not as active. I know, and I'm trying to become a little more active and present wherever I can. I started off as a developer. You might have heard about this company called Patagonia. They are in Ventura. So I started off as a AX developer. Well, before then I was actually developing in an AV, but was for a short period of time. And then I was developing in as an AX. I started off as an AX developer at Patagonia, and now it's called Finance and Operations. And I also develop in Business Central. So yeah, I go back and forth between Business Central, Finance and Operations, and most recently the Power Platform.
Great. And your holiday dessert.
So my holiday dessert, my favorite holiday dessert is the gingerbread cookies. Not really too sweet, and they go really well with a hot green tea in the winter evenings. So
sounds good. All right, we'll jump down to Mikey.
Hello.
Hey, Mikey.
My company is Tech Innovators Incorporation, and we've been working with Dynamics 365 for several years now, and we basically focus on leveraging its capabilities to enhance customer relationship management and streamline operations. And we primarily use Dynamics 365 sales and customer service models to drive our business processes and improve customer satisfaction.
Okay, awesome. And how long do you say you've been using it?
Several years now.
Okay. And what's your favorite holiday dessert?
I don't believe in that.
Okay. Raphael.
Hello, my name is Rafael Silva. My background really is from C# development, doing REST APIs, web applications, and mobile development. I got introduced really to Dynamics using F&O in my previous company. We Mission Produce, we did an implementation from AS400 to F&O through various regions, so South America, Europe, and USA. So I got a lot of experience in using some of the features there and mobile warehouse features as well. In my current company, I'm actually based off Santa Barbara right now, but I live in Oxnard, so I fortunately am able to work remote most of the time, but do medical devices, and we are moving from SAP to F&O and using CE for CRM as well. We have an e-commerce Shopify where we have to create some integration, and yeah.
Awesome.
For me, for dessert, I love flan. I don't know if that you guys familiar. It's really good. My mom makes it from scratch. So it's really good to have that on the holidays.
Awesome.
Raphael, I might be coming to your house.
She makes it very old school too, so it's like a little bit of Mexico that's coming in the United States.
That's my second favorite, I would say. Not too sweet and.
Yeah.
All right. And last but not least, Vince. Hey, Vince, good to see you back.
Hi, great to be back. Let's get it out of the way in the beginning. These things are from heaven.
Oh, Reese's.
Reese's.
Yeah.
You guys started talking about desserts, and I had to go grab a handful of them.
Those are my favorites, actually, Vince. But I felt like it was more of a baked good, but that one's definitely one of my faves too.
I like it.
Go with what I had on hand. So hi, everyone. My name is Vince Lapicola. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, and moved here to Southern California almost 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. I've been working with Dynamics CRM since 2007. It was version 1.2 at that point. Had a great career in the channel, and then I went to Microsoft as a TS. So as a technical specialist at Microsoft, I was also program manager in charge of all the onboarding and education of all of our TSs worldwide. So I've had a great career. I stepped away back in 2020. I tried Pega, I tried Amplify. I don't know. I tried like 4 or 5 different companies chasing that startup money. So if any of you guys are rich on the phone, I need to know how you did that startup money thing, because it didn't work for me. So anyways, I'm back in the channel now. I went to work for a company called ProMX. They're headquartered out of Germany. They're really, really great at project operations, but we've got the full stack as well. It's primarily a company that concentrates on CRM, but touches BC and F&O a little bit as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
So my goal here is to meet people, is to expand my circle. Like I said earlier, 3.5 years in California. I don't know that many people yet, so I'd love to expand my friend circle, my network circle, and and that's it.
Awesome, Vince. Well, appreciate everybody for taking the time to go through that. And like Vince said, I mean, that is really the purpose behind these meetups, is for us to make those connections. As we were kind of joking at the beginning, the joy of Southern California, it's kind of hard to do these in person. We need to have about 5 or 6 different meetup groups, or we'll be driving forever to get to each other. But hopefully we can find some here in some time to do one in person, but we can keep this virtual approach going as well. So with that, let's keep on moving forward. Let's talk a little bit about the latest with the Dynamics user group. Liz, you want to jump in? I've got the standard slides on here. If you want to kind of talk through these, I can click for you.
Sure, that would be awesome. Thank you, Dan. So I'm very excited to hear that this is a few people's first Doug meetup event. So welcome to our first timers. Just mostly for you guys to let you know who Doug is, what we do, and what we offer. So Dynamics User Group is a free community, and we focus on anybody that has interest in the Dynamics 365, Dynamics GP, or Power Platform. Whether you're a user implementing, selling ISVs, we are here for you. And our core mission really of our organization is to offer education and networking opportunities so that you really can grow and thrive in your professional development and careers. Go ahead and the next slide, Dan. So before I kind of jump into some of the programs that we have, just a rule for today, and we ask that you all be courteous. We ask that you please keep yourself on mute. If you're not speaking, we'd love to have the contributions to the meeting though. But rather than, contribute to the meeting in a meaningful way, this is not a sales platform by any means. We want to be very respectful of everybody and as well as no recruitment.
Do you
and
concur?
So thank you very much for being courteous. And I don't know that Mikey is right now, Dan. If there's a way that we can mute him, that would be. No, I
You'll need
was
to
muted.
unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yep, I just did. Okay, so next slide. All right, so you are attending a Doug Meetup education meeting today, but we do offer several other programs, many of which are free, including our forums, our webinars, our YouTube channel. In addition to that, we have in-person and virtual conferences, and so there's just lots of access to free education and training across the globe and across the year. So this is just one of the ways you can do that. And we'd love to have each of you sign up for your free membership at dynamicsusergroup.com. In addition to our local meetups, we do have some regional meetups as well, which are a little bit larger in scope. We just held our Canadian one last week and we had 150 people there, which was fantastic. Our next one's in Florida, so a little far away from you guys, but we do have a nice lineup for next year. The next slide also has the remainder of our regional Doug meetups. So these are events that will have a full day of content. They're free to attend. We often focus on multiple different products, have multiple sponsorship opportunities. So if you're able to join us at one of our regionals, we'd love to see you there. And if regional is not your thing, we would love to have you join us in Chicago, Illinois, which is our big annual conference held the week of May 13th through the 16th. We will have thousands of people attending with hundreds of sessions, a big expo hall, and it's just going to be a fantastic opportunity to learn more and network and meet others in our community space. And I know that we just added a new slide, Dan, to our intro deck that I don't see is in here, but I will pop it in the chat. We actually have a promo going on right now, where you can buy one, get one free registration for DynamicsCon as one of our holiday specials. So I will drop that information in chat for everybody. So thank you again. All of our lovely leaders in SoCal, and I will let you get to the content at hand.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Liz. I also wanted to point out just a couple other things going on in SoCal. There are a lot of different user groups. I will actually be speaking. I think Michelle is speaking as well at an event coming up in January up at the LA Microsoft office. So the link will be in the slide deck, which I'll share. But you can go ahead and find that information. That's a free event going on in January. So if any of you could come by that, I'd love to meet you in person, and we can talk more about what we can do here locally. And then there is an AI event going to go on in San Diego in March. So there is a lot of stuff going on in Dynamics locally, but I cannot recommend higher taking the time to go to Chicago to go to DynamicsCon. I've attended, I think I missed the second year. This is, I believe, year 5. Was it the first one, the third, and the fourth one? And was just in the Chicago. We had a meetup group leaders event at that hotel that we'll be using in Chicago. Got to see the facilities. It's a great facility. It's a great agenda plan. So can't recommend it more. Hope to meet all of you there in May in Chicago, and hopefully it's May, so it won't be snowing like it was when we were there a few weeks ago. So with that, we're going to jump into some of our educational content. So I'm going to pass it over to Michelle. Let me make sure you are a presenter, Michelle. and you should be able to go ahead and share your screen and give us some Copilot.
All right, let me share here. And I'll also set my timer because I could talk about Business Central for probably like three weeks with no breath in between. So I need someone to tell me to stop talking. So let's set this for 30 minutes and warn me to hush. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yep, it's good.
Perfect. Okay, so Copilot features in Business Central. I already did the introductions. I forgot to mention I'm a Microsoft MVP for BC, and happy to share all of my knowledge with you. I'll have a LinkedIn QR code at the end just in case you guys want to chat. But let's really dig in. So Copilot, I think most people have heard of Copilot by now. But if you haven't, I'm happy to dig in much deeper with you about what Copilot is. But sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. I will just, someone let me know if there's questions for me to read in the chat. I'm going to minimize that.
Yeah, I'll take care of it for you.
Thank you. So today I'm really going to spend time digging in where Copilot is touching Business Central and just some kind of cheat codes on how to get around and use that. So the different areas that we'll go through, there is a general chat inside of Business Central where you can chat with Copilot and ask some questions. We have what's called Analysis Assist, and that Analysis Assist is going to take a look at how you can analyze on your different list pages and use Copilot to help you build pivot tables inside of Business Central. There is also bank reconciliation matching, as well as marketing text suggestions, sales line suggestions, which is how you can build your sales lines based off of easy chats, as well as item suggestions, where you can have Copilot suggest which items you can replace those substitutions. Number series, Copilot for finance, all kinds of different things that have been added over the last year or so, with a lot more coming. The ones that you see with asterisks, we're actually going to take a live demo and deep dive into it. So quickly before we go and do that, a really cool thing that's coming if you have not seen it yet is sales agents or agents inside of various modules throughout D365. The one that I am excited about selfishly is for Business Central on Sales Order Agent. And there is a super cool video that Microsoft has put out showing how you can automate some of your interactions with those agents. So I would encourage you, if you're a Business Central user or interested to see how those agents are working, to go and check out on Microsoft's YouTube channel. So with that, we'll just hop into a demo and we'll look at some good stuff inside of here. Let me move my deck out of the way for us too. But so let's start by digging in to that Copilot chat. So when you're inside of your Business Central environment, you will have your Copilot link right here. And that's going to open up your chat. And I believe that this is now available on all versions of Business Central. It wasn't available in some of the European localizations, but now is available. And when you come in here, you're going to see it's going to give you some prompts right away, even some easy things for you to be able to click on. So it has things very simple like instructions. So how do I release a sales order? So you can do this chat anywhere inside of BC. If you are stuck on what you need to do or how to process, you can actually ask Copilot for instructions, and it will give you step-by-step guides on how to do those tasks. So in this instance, it was telling us how to release a sales order. You can even type in your own questions. If you aren't sure where to start, the view prompts is actually pretty useful. They've added some really great ways to start interacting with Copilot, because a lot of the feedback that was given was we don't know how to interact with this new kind of tool. So it will help you get different ideas here. But I even you can ask things like, can you show me on my ledger entries the highest sales for this year? And it's going to analyze what you're asking, and it's going to try and go out and get that information. Now, keep in mind, this is a newer tool, still in preview, still getting some of the kinks and the funny parts worked out. One of my favorite things, I was doing a live demo at actually, I think it was DynamicsCon last year, and I put in my prompt that worked perfectly on every single demonstration, and then as soon as I did it live, it was like, we're not sure what you want. The same, like copied and texted word for word. So it can be a little bit funny. Remember, it's a growing tool, but really what I've seen on what's coming out and over the last couple of updates, it's really, really growing. Keep in mind, I am in a sandbox environment, which always runs a little bit slower than production, so it's thinking pretty hard. But while we're waiting, you are also able to do these chats on any of these pages. And these kinds of chats and interactions can happen in a bunch of different ways. So it's so funny. One that we use all the time. I told you, I warned you, when you're live, it's always going to do opposite of what you do when you practice. I think it's a rule of demonstrations. But you can do these kinds of little interactions throughout the system. So instead of asking it here, we could also go to our posted sales invoices and go to that Analyze Assist. I'm just going to minimize my navigation window here. But I'm not sure if you guys have used your Analyze yet, but you can go into analysis mode, and that's going to help you build out different pivot tables. But what you'll also see is that we have a Copilot integration right here where we can create that new analysis. And this is where we can start building out those different interactions. So you can do this in pivot mode or without pivot mode. So let's just try one out. I would like a pivot table with the type of document, the month, let's put the type of document, the date, and the amount. And if you go ahead and do generate, it's going to try and give you back the information in your pivot table, your analysis view here, with the information that you've asked for. So we asked for the type of document with the date here. So we have our document date and our customer, and they have not sent here. And it's going to give you all of those different settings here, and you can even adjust those. So if you want that based off of your date, but maybe we want that date to have the year instead, and then possibly the month. We can put that in there as well. And it left out my document type, but that's okay. I'm going to come up here and do document. Let's do type here. So you can see it's going to help start building out what you were looking for. Document exchange. And you are able to use these pivot modes to get the types of information that you want. Now it's here. If I choose not to do pivot mode, it's going to come up in a little bit of different information. You can see that we have columns instead of different groups here. So your information is going to be displayed differently based off of the different modes that you have. The great thing is that if you don't like what it does, you can come up here and you can adjust it, and you can even use your prompts here as well. So if I want to group by customer and display the total for each document, you can come here and generate all kinds of different things. Now, I really like the analysis views that you have through here because you are able to save those. You can see when I created it by hand, it didn't title these. If you create it by Copilot, it's going to title it based off of what you've been building out with it. And you can add more details. So how about we add the due date? And I always toss in a nice please and thank you just in case AI takes over one day. It remembers I was nice to it. Am I the only one who does that? I don't know. But so we can keep adjusting and having the different information here on these different analysis modes. These ones are great too because you can open these in Excel. Opens really great. And I like these because when you come out to these, you are also able to copy them very easily with headers and export it as Excel, or if you don't have grouping on, then you can export as CSV. But because I have groups here, it won't allow me to export as a CSV. Okay, so always chat with your Copilot, make it work for you, and adjust based off of what you're looking for. I have a lot of fun with those chats, and it's really great to see how it has advanced over the last couple of releases. Now, the bank reconciliation, when this one came out, I thought it was probably just going to be something that was shiny for Copilot didn't know if it was actually going to be useful or not. But the first time I tested it, I actually was surprised because one of the things that it does that I really enjoy is that you can do multiple matching. So if you use Business Central, it could do one-to-many matching on some of your lines, but it couldn't do many-to-many. It had no capabilities of trying to match your many-to-many relationships, where the Reconcile with Copilot will do that. So I am just on my bank account reconciliation page here, and I am going to import my bank statement. Okay, so I'm going to come here to reconcile, and I'm going to come reconcile here, and I'm going to choose my bank account, my checking bank account, and I'm just going to import my reconciliation file from the bank. Now I have this mapped using data exchange mapping, so I've already mapped that out, and now I'm going to ask the system to generate this data for me. So I'm just going to say that this is my statement date, and I'm going to generate here. Okay, so it's going to let me know. It auto-matched one of 3 lines, and it used Copilot to match 2 of the 3. Now, after I show you this, I'll show you what it will actually do if I auto-match only and don't use Copilot. But you'll see that there are 2 lines that are showing right here that were Copilot specifically. And I'm going to say keep it, and I'm going to open this up so you can see what that's done. So I have 4 bank ledger entries. These are posted to my bank subledger, and I have 3 lines that I imported from my bank statement. And the system has automatically for me matched up my single deposit line to 2 entries that were in my bank account without me having to ask it to figure that out. So I am ready to go. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and post these lines. A great thing about the Copilot on Business Central as well is if you have things like bank fees that come in, it will automatically suggest which GL account for you to be able to post those bank fees to if it wasn't already in your ledger. So it's a pretty useful tool. Let me go ahead and delete these here so you can see what it looks like if we weren't using Copilot. I'm going to delete my lines. And if I come here to my bank and import my statement here, same process where I'm choosing my file, but instead it's going to come in with just my lines. And if I come here to match automatically, if I leave this blank, it's just going to use my tolerance days based off of my date. So it's only going to match 1 out of 3 lines because I have this entry that's for the 21st. Took a few days for it to clear on my bank, so it's not matching, only matching 1 line out of 3. So it's automatically giving us some more work. If I were to do my match with more days, let's say we gave it a week, it's going to ask me if I want to unmatch it. It gets my 2, but still the built-in system isn't grabbing and doing the work behind the scenes to calculate how those can match many. Okay, so very easy to set up and very easy to use, but can be really powerful. If you imagine you have a couple hundred bank reconciliation lines, to have Copilot go in there and do the homework for you can make a difference in your day. Next one that we'll look at, we have on our items a few things related to inventory. We'll only touch on a couple today just for time's sake. But if I were to hop into my Berlin guest chair yellow here, I will see that I have some information that I've already assigned to my item. I have a picture I've uploaded. I have some item attributes like the material description, the color, and I would like the system to help me generate some marketing information for me to be able to use either with my Shopify integration if you're using Shopify, or if I just want to use it for other information. So I'm doing craft with Copilot here, and it is giving me some information already for me, looking at the title of my chair, this has the crafted year because that was an item attribute. So if we come here and click on our edit, you can see what it is that it's using to build out this marketing material. So we have all of these item attributes going into that draft, but I can also change it. So right now we're talking in an inspiring tone. Maybe I'd like this to be a little bit more creative. I would like this to be a brief, and I'd like an emphasis on the elegance of this item. And I can come here and push generate. It's going to go back to the drawing board, and it is going to create those different briefs based off of the settings I've created. So then once you have decided that this is what you'd like, you can even regenerate if you want it to rewrite based off of the same criterion. Once you're ready, you say keep it, and it now becomes your marketing text. With Business Central, this then integrates directly to Shopify, but you can use it for other items as well. If I was creating a sales transaction using different items, there's also new ways to have the system put line items on for me. So previously we just could either hand enter those items or we could import them. Well, now we have a way to interact with Copilot to update those items for us, and in a few different ways. And this is what's really helping us build up to that sales order agent Copilot tool that's coming out in the next year. Here on our sales invoice lines, you can see I have my Copilot little icon here, and there's two things: suggest sales lines from file. This works very similar to the bank reconciliation that we just looked at. You have a file that you're importing and it's mapping it out, reading what it is that you're looking for. But this suggest sales line is pretty fun. Again, they're really great about giving prompts so that you can figure out the easiest way for you to use this new tool. So I like the copy from the latest posted invoice or copy from posted invoice number, because a lot of times we're going into the system and just manually copying. So if I just come here and say, oh, I want whatever was on my last invoice, it will come in and you'll see what it was. I like that it allows you to come in and say, actually, I want 4 of those and maybe 10 of these, and then to insert those records. So you have the ability to adjust before it's finalized. I can even come in and say something like 4 Berlin and 6 red. So I'm obviously not being very clear here. I want these to be chairs, and then I'll generate. And it's going to go out and look, analyze your items, and it says, oh, okay, well, we have the Berlin chair that's yellow, and we have the Seoul guest chair that's red. And it puts in our quantities for us. So it's making that that initial, preparation of your data, reviewing your data to see what it is that you may be looking for. And it will add them on. Thankfully, it doesn't delete them out for you. It's pretty cool that we are able to now do that on our sales transactions, be able to have those entered in. Some of the other prompts that have been pretty helpful, again, the add from posted invoice, or even if you just have descriptions from somewhere else that you have that you want to bring in. So let's say you hand type in descriptions on your items. You can ask Copilot to grab the descriptions from your previous use and bring them onto your line items here. Very, very, very good add-on for some of our users that are very heavy sales order entry. Okay, so then I'm going to just show you a little bit around Copilot settings. And thankfully, I stayed within my time. And let me just double check my list here, make sure I'm crossing everything off. Fabulous. So for Copilot inside of Business Central, you do have to do a few of your different setups, Copilot and AI capabilities here. And you'll want to make sure, depending on what your different settings that you have within your environment, you may be able to enable these for yourself or on the more global level. So you'll see different features that are available, and you have to activate those for your environment. So if you're in Business Central now and don't see Copilot, you'll want to talk to your administrator to make sure that you have Copilot enabled along with the different features that we have inside the system.
Hey, Michelle, that kind of leads
Yes.
to the one question there was in the chat. Is
Wonderful.
there any licensing requirements around that or additional cost?
So for this level of Copilot, there is no additional cost. It is built in with the Business Central licensing. There's other add-ons and things that you can do with Copilot if you're getting into Copilot Studio or advanced features, but all of the native functionality with Copilot in Business Central comes with your license.
Great, thanks.
Perfect. Any other questions? All right, I'll hop back onto my screen here, and
Michelle, one question I have.
Please.
The agent, the sales agent, I know they were saying in December. Any idea when it's going to be available for the general customers?
There was just a post from Microsoft yesterday actually on it, and I think that is still in December, but I will confirm and put it in the chat here while the next person's presenting.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. I love Business Central and Chat and Copilot, so if you have any questions or just want to chat, a few of us are in the same area, let me know. I am on LinkedIn and happy to answer questions and be a resource for you guys if you're on a Business Central or Copilot journey. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate the content. Hopefully that was kind of what everybody was hoping to get there on some Business Central. And apologize for some of that chat that was going on. I think I got the culprits out of the meeting and got them to give up trying to get back in. So hopefully they are blocked for good. With that, we'll transition off to our next topic about Power Automate, and I probably need to promote you to a presenter, Krusha. Let's see, make a presenter.
Okay.
All right. You should be able to share your screen now.
Okay. Are you guys
Look,
able to see the slides?
we are seeing not the presentation view, the other one, the speaker view. You might want to switch monitors.
Oh.
Switch display or.
Okay. Let's try that one more time. About now.
Same.
Yeah,
we're seeing the agenda in the next slide.
Seeing the agenda and then the next slide thing, right? So
yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want to show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like the agenda for my part, yeah. And then I also have the demo planned as well.
Okay. I think the next slide is coming on the side, so maybe that's it like.
Yeah. Ooh.
If you go to display settings and swap.
Got it.
Swap presenter view. There you go.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right. So, like I said, I got introduced to the Power Platform back in 2018 when I was at one of the Microsoft conferences. And I am, an advocate, a big advocate for, the Power Platform and what it has to offer. And we use quite a bit of Power Automate flows, both within our organization as well as implement solutions, the Power Flow solutions for our customers and partners in conjunction with our ISV solutions. So with that said, here's a quick agenda that, we'll be covering in our time, and hopefully, this will be productive and you have some key takeaways from our time here. So I'll be covering about like what Power Automate is and where the workflows within ERP fall short. So today I will be only covering the Business Central side of things, but in the future I hope to do something on the finance and operations, because I saw that there's quite a few folks here from the F&O world. And then we'll also be extending the workflow template using the Power Automate in the make.powerautomate.com. And we'll also be using other Power Automate templates and touching on the type of flows and also how you solution and deploy them, right? Either it can be between one environment to other, like you're developing, for an end user and you're basically developing in the sandbox or some other environment, and then you'd have to deploy to production, or you are solutioning that package and deploying to your clients. Right. So what is Power Automate, right? So it is a cloud-based service that helps with automating repetitive tasks, your mundane tasks, that everyday tasks that everybody hates to do, and it helps with making your business processes more efficient. Right. So Microsoft advertises the Power Automate as a low-code, no-code tool, which I agree that it is a low-code tool. But at the same time, I would say that you do need to have some knowledge on how the entity structure works in either of the ERPs, both in Business Central or the finance and operations. You do need to know the entity structure or the metadata in order to understand how you would design those flows, other than just basically using the standard templates that Microsoft offers for you. And I always think of Power Automate flows as a way to basically orchestrate your sub processes that you may need to develop as a developer, but it is great as a to solve complex problems. It is great as an orchestrator to launch sub-processes when you have a complex integration between multiple systems. But it's also great as a simple tool, to solve a simple problem, right? A simple repetitive problem. All right. So here we have a simple workflow use case that we're going to look at. So we're going to basically look at a workflow within the Business Central. And then we will look at, where it's falling short and how you can basically take that and, automate within the Power Automate, the make.power automate, right? So let me switch my screen here. Can someone confirm with the
Yep, you're good.
hands up? Okay, great. Thank you, Dan. All right. So I have, I just searched, I just did a quick search for the workflows. This is pretty similar on how it looks like within the finance and operations as well. You have a set of templates to use. And so we're going to look at this particular My Sales Order Approval workflow. So I created this using, a standard template here. I'm not going to create it all the way, but I'm just going to quickly show how I did it. So I selected the sales order approval workflow, and I added just one simple condition. So here you can see that it's basically going to be triggered when someone requests for an approval on a sales order, a sales document, and then I'm doing a filter here. And then I just added this amount. So basically when the total amount on the order, including tax, is more than 100, so, do this, right? Very simple. And I have the restrictions here, and basically have some conditions on, like, who can approve this, and then we're also sending a notification, right? So a few other things that you need within Business Central, and it's very similar even in finance and operations, is that you do need to have the approval user set up, right? So today I'm gonna be going back and forth between the demo user 1 and myself. And the demo user 1 is basically going to request for the approval, and I am the approver. And there's no other hierarchy built here, right? I am basically the approval administrator, and I don't have any limit on, like, you know, how many approvals or the amount of the amount on the sales order, etc. And the last thing that you would need is basically the email account that need to be set up within Business Central, because this is going to be sending notifications, right? So all nice and dandy. And let me do one last thing, and then I'll switch to the other user here. Okay, so when you have two workflows configured within the system, the Power Automate flow always takes the precedence, right? So since I have two workflows set up for the same approval, you know, workflow area, the Power Automate is gonna take the precedence, and this is going to basically kick off when I or when the demo user requests for the approval on the sales order. So I'm gonna turn this off quickly. And now we'll only have the My Sales Order approval workflow, which is sourced from Business Central. Okay. So now I am the demo user, and I'm basically going to create a new sales order. The data. Okay, and notice that the amount is definitely, including taxes, more than $100. So this should trigger the approval workflow. I'm gonna ask for the approval, send the approval request, and it's gonna take a second here. Okay, still waiting. Probably the LA traffic.
It's worse than LA traffic, I think.
Right? Yeah, let's see.
Probably a rainy day as well.
All right, there we go. Okay. So here's my approval email that I got, and it tells me, and this is part of the template, right? So it has some information, and it has the link for me to get to the sales order directly from the email. So let me get into the sales order details page. Okay, and I'm gonna quickly approve this. And notice that it is released now. It was in the pending approval status earlier, and it's now released, right? So nice and simple. And there is definitely, you know, use cases for the standard, you know, workflows within the ERP. I mean, people have been using these for many years. So they're definitely nice. right? But where they fall short is that they are asynchronous in nature, right? So the same furniture store, let's say, in a few years, they have an online store and they're getting orders left and right, and you really need, something to be triggered automatically as the orders come in, and you really cannot have a user, you do have, some workflows when the sales order is created, but it definitely does not offer, all of the functionality of the sales order approval workflow within the ERP. And then there's also little to no flexibility on the notifications, right? So now let's switch into the make.power.automate. So from your Business Central, it's as simple as that. You basically have the automate menu option in every page. So it's very simple to get there. I did not intend to do that. Manage books. Thank God. Okay. So I have this particular workflow that I created, right? So it's basically using the template that you have for the Business Central for the approval workflow. So from the make.powerautomate.com, which should be included with your, D365 license. I was just doing some homework on how the licenses work for the Power Automate. I believe you need to have a basic license in order to run them, but then you do need to have a premium license in order to create flows. But with D365, you do have the premium license. So, just some information on licensing there. So if I search for the Business Central, and so I do see, so if I want to, not in the right screen. So new flow from the template, and yeah. So here we have basically all of the templates that are based off of the request approval from the Business Central. So I created mine using this particular template, right? So let me go back into my flows. So I created mine using that particular template, but you have, a lot of flexibility, basically once the flow is created in order to, update this, right? So you can basically add some more conditions. You can also add, another table lookup, to hop another level into the items from the sales line. Let's say if if there is basically long lead times on maybe a particular chair or another piece of furniture, and you want some more approvals for cases like that, right? So when you create the flows, even using the template that is offered out of the box, you do have a lot more flexibility to update them later, right? So and so when you actually create a flow from the Power Automate, it's also going to create a workflow within Business Central, and it's going to say that it's been sourced from Power Automate, right? So let me enable this one, and then we'll trigger this one. So there I enabled this one. So this is going to now take the precedence. And if I jump into it quickly, you can see that all of these are basically the webhooks that are coming in from the make.powerautomate. So let me switch to the other user view. Okay. And I'm going to create another order here. Okay, and I'm gonna send the approval request again. And the automate workflow that we just saw also has a delegation to basically trigger a notification through Teams as well. So I'll be sharing that in a second here. So it will notify me both on Teams as well as the Outlook. Okay, so I got the one in Teams. So you can see that it sent me a Teams notification, and I really don't need to, go into Business Central, into the sales order page at all. I can just approve the sales order from my Teams and my Outlook, right? And I also have more flexibility on adding more information to the email notification. So let me approve it from my Outlook. And I also have the option to add comments. So test approval and then submit. Okay. So that's now going to release the sales order and we're good to go. So doing a quick recap, we covered the workflow within Business Central, and then we covered a workflow that is created within the Power Automate or sourced from Power Automate, but using the user approval workflow from the Business Central connector. Okay, so and I'm also going to quickly touch on the type of flows that you can create within the make.powerautomate. So you have basically some options in here to create different types of flows. So you can do an automated cloud flow. So basically, when a sales order is created, right? So it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be that the order needs to be requested for an approval, right? So it can be that like when a sales order is created and you basically use the same template that you have in here, you can pretty much copy all of the flow items from here into here, and then you will basically now have a flow that will be triggered automatically every time a sales order has been created. And you can have some more conditions on basically, if it is coming from this particular channel or something like that. Right? And then we also have the instant cloud flow. So the instant cloud flows are basically triggered with an input parameter. So I have a simple instant workflow that I created in here. So when I run this, it's basically going to ask me for a customer number input. And once I input that customer number, it's basically going to email the credit limit and the balance. And if I quickly edit that, it's basically, asking for a particular input, and then it's basically finding that one record and sending an email. So a very simple instant workflow there. And you can also do a scheduled workflow. Basically, the flow will run on a schedule, so you can set the flow on a schedule where it runs like every hour or every day, end of every day, etc. And I have some more use cases that I wanted to quickly go over. So how we have been using, for our customers is basically when things go haywire, right? When you have multiple systems being integrated, like an e-commerce platform and a business central or a finance and operations, orders are getting synced, or it could be inventory and pricing, etc., going from the ERP into the e-commerce systems. You will have failures every now and then. And so we have set up some Power Automate flows for error handling. So when a job fails, basically notify a group of users, right? We've also used Power Automate in conjunction with the Power BI for migration efforts. So basically, before go live, before the customers go live, we have Power BI reports basically pulling information from both the systems and compare and contrast all of the data and look at some anomalies and basically trigger email notifications in order to let the business stakeholders know that there is some action that needs to be taken, and some data that's not clean, and it's basically going to fail on validations when we import that data into the production systems, etc., from the legacy systems. And then the last slide is basically covering, how do we deploy the flows, right? So there is a very, it's very simple to basically deploy Power Flows. You basically export a flow. You basically export a flow, and then you can do either managed or unmanaged. Especially if you're solutioning excuse me. Sorry about that. So especially if you're solutioning something to your customers, and so in which case it will be an unmanaged flow. So you can choose basically both a managed or an unmanaged flow, and you'll basically export it out of the environment that you are developing in, and you'll import it into the environment that you need to deploy in. Right, so export it out of here and then go back into the main page and then import a new package. Yeah, you do need to configure the connectors, right? So basically, when you are in your development environment, you're probably connecting to a test SMTP account, or you're probably connecting to the UAT or a sandbox environment. And so you will be, asked to update your connectors when you are exporting and importing a flow. And you will have the option to either use the same one or, create new connectors and set up your connectors. And that's about it. I hope I was on time. Thank you, Dan.
You did great. You did great. No, appreciate that. I don't see any questions for you on the chat. Does anybody have any questions regarding the content there on Power Automate? All right. Well, we'll go ahead and keep moving. One more topic I was going to touch on, and I'll cover it here. We'll keep it kind of short because I want to get to our last topic about user group planning. But I just wanted to cover a little bit. I spent last week up in Redmond at Microsoft headquarters, talking with their product team on one of their newest solutions that they brought out to market, their business performance planning, where they're really jumping into the FP&A marketplace to go against, solutions like a Hyperion and Adaptive, any of those solutions like that. And so, they really have a vision for what is going to be planning and analysis. I'll be honest, right now, it is generally available. It's part of what's the finance premium SKU. One thing, anybody that's worked with me very much, and as you all know, I've been around Dynamics and Microsoft since the beginning. I'll tell you what I think. It's a new product. It has some good features, but it has some development to go. There's talk about the AI and Copilot. It doesn't have any of that yet. It's all on the roadmap. But what it does have is the integration of all of the Dynamics and Power Platform stack. So it works through the Dataverse, uses Power Automate that we just talked about to build the workflows. It works with Power BI to do your planning and analysis. So the approach they're taking is you actually create your dimensions in cubes, because again, you're building a warehouse to do your planning out of. And once you load all that data in, you can connect Power BI to that. And they have 7 unique visuals that are not normal for Power BI. They actually allow you to do some write back in Power BI. So it's really going to transform how companies do their planning. And it's not just financial planning. That was the thing that I kind of noticed when I was up there last week. I had really looked at it as a new budgeting tool, being part of the Dynamics Finance SKU. I thought of it as a budgeting tool, but you can really do more than just OpEx planning. You can do HR planning, you can do capital expenditures, you can do sales forecasting, all of that through the solution, really designed for all the standard planning approaches, bottom up, driver based, long range planning, and building, different scenarios through that case. So their plan is, extending beyond what is called FP&A, financial planning and analysis, to XP&A, extendable planning and analysis, and working, cross-domain. Any of the data that's in the Dataverse, they can get access to, again, actually beyond that, because it uses Power Query to pull data in. So you can pull data from any of the Dynamics products. I don't have a BC icon on here, but I could certainly add that because it could get to the BC data. It can get to other ERP data. So it really allows you to bring all of that together and move beyond that. Now, it is for the people that are F&O or finance and supply chain, whatever we're calling it this week. It is going to integrate with the new business performance analytics as well. So it becomes part of this whole business performance suite that they're delivering. So I'm just going to jump. I've got a few more slides in here that we'll share this slide deck out on the meetup and with everybody, so you can kind of see what's in here. But I'll just jump over real quick. I actually have it running on my laptop here. So let me just open up business performance planning. While that refreshes, actually my Dynamics is signed out as well. So let me sign back in with the wrong sign in. We'll skip signing in Dynamics. There's an icon for it on the F&O screen, but it pops you into this business performance planning. And this is where I'm able to build my dimensions. So you'll see in here, I have dimensions for account. I have my companies. I have my cost centers, departments, all of that. And that is all using Power Query to pull that data from finance and operations and then write it back into the Dataverse, into this cube. Because what is ultimately going to happen is I can come in here to Power BI and I can start doing my planning. So I'm just going to start here with cube maintenance. And these are all custom visuals that are part of this finance premium business performance planning SKU. So if I wanted to create a new budgeting scenario, I can come in and actually edit and add a new row right into that dimension. I can also copy data. So if I come in here and choose my planning cube, so this is what the administrator would do, but they could come in here and they could say they want to take the scenario of actual data that they brought in from D365. So they take it, or any other system, because again, we could connect to more than D365. And I want to move that to my forecast. And I only want to move 1 year. So I want to move the year of 2023 to 2025. And I'll go ahead and save that. And then I'll copy, and that is going to make my new forecast scenario match my 2023. So then I can start planning my budget for that. So we'll give that just a second to copy. And while that's copying, I'm going to jump in here to the matrix planning. So this is where the budgeting people or the planning people in your organization would actually be able to do their planning inside of Power BI. So I can choose what scenario I want to look at. So I'm going to look at this new forecast I just created, and I'm going to look at 2025. And you'll see it has brought in balances for us. Now I can actually jump in here and edit, not something you can normally do with Power BI. I can't edit a visual. And you'll notice up here, the little help lets me know there's some entry shortcuts. So maybe I want to put 3 million across each month. By putting the R in front, it filled it to the right. And now I can go ahead and save that. And I've now updated that sales number for this forecast budget. So easily able to make those changes. You notice I can see all my different financial dimensions, however really you design that cube. There's another visual that allows you to do this more graphically, so you can actually drag and drop the bars. So if I come in here and edit, I can actually say, oh, I want my sales bar to be longer in January and make that type of change. I don't personally like this one as much. I didn't probably introduce that I'm also a CPA, so I like to get into the detailed numbers. Just dragging the visuals not precise enough for me. The other visual is a reporting visual. So one of the things that's always been hard to do in Power BI is to produce a financial statement. Well, look at this. I actually have a profit and loss view. And you'll notice if I put this, whoops, I got to put the whole report into, whoops, jumped off that visual. Put the whole report into edit mode here. Don't need Copilot to help me edit, but I can actually edit in this visual. Never done it on the cloud version. Maybe I can only do there. I can't get to the icon. Here it is. There, edit. That's what I was looking for, because now if I right mouse click, you'll see I have things like add row before, add row after, make an underline. And when I add a row before, I can actually give that row a name, and I can actually do a formula in here. So I could say cost of goods sold times 3 or plus sales or something like that. And you'll notice it's doing the math for me as I type that in. Just say I'm not going to save that. So let's go back to reading view. Don't save. You can also use that same visual to do comparison. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my comparison here. It should refresh. And it will actually do a comparison between different budgets. So let's see. There we go. Just took it a minute to refresh. So here I'm seeing my scenario, so my budget, my actuals for 23, my actuals for 24, and then there's the variance. This little graph comes with that visual, which is similar to the variance visual that I have here on the next tab. So you can see we get some kind of KPIs that actually show me between my scenario and my actual. And again, I was in Redmond last week. I haven't spent a ton of time trying to make this super pretty or anything like that, but just wanted to kind of point out the different visuals. And then the last one is that you can actually do comments. I forgot to put a comment in back here, but if I am doing any changes on these numbers, I could come in here and add a comment. Here is my comment. Now, right now, that's just a notepad. It doesn't date and timestamp those. So now if I come to the comment report, it should give me the comment. I'm probably not saving. There we go. Here's my comment. So it will give the comments that were prepared on those. So those are the 7 visuals that are available with the new business performance planning. So just wanted to kind of point these out, the matrix table edit, planning variance. It doesn't officially support Business Central today, but they were talking about it when I was there in Redmond. They can connect to the data through Power Query. The key is how would you license it? Because right now it licenses solely through the Finance Premium license. And that's a 10 user minimum. So little more than probably clients are paying for Business Central today. So with that, any questions on performance planning? I went through that pretty quick, but I just wanted to show the new stuff that's coming, and there's a lot on the release planner about that as well. Okay, well, in the last couple of minutes here, I'm gonna launch a few polls in the meeting, and I would love to get your feedback on a few different things. So the first one I launched here, do we like meeting in person, virtual, hybrid? I'm open to, with the leadership team here, to do any or all of those. So I would love to get your response, get your input on that. And also, if you've got some comments and you want to come off of mute and share those with us, please do. Uh, this meetup is for all the users. Love to know what you guys think and how to get more users out to these meetings. Look at, right now I've only got one response, so if you could answer that, I'm gonna go ahead and launch a couple others. In this meeting we covered multiple D365 products. One of the thoughts we've had is doing separate meetings for Business Central, CRM, CE products, and F&O.
Separate.
Separate. I agree.
Totally separate. Yeah.
But as you notice, we put them all together, and I still don't get a lot of people. So it's how do we drive those? So
yeah, I would say be more focused with the message. This is what we're covering. This is what we're talking about. And if it's just DC, it's not going to be 3 hours. Or maybe it is. Right. Maybe it's a couple hours. I don't know. If it's CRM, maybe you just do an hour and a half, and it's focused.
Okay, so you an hour focused.
Yeah, because I was really digging in, trying to understand all the BC stuff. But guys, I haven't done ERP in 30 years. So it's like I'm staring at the stuff. I'm like, it's familiar, but I'll never, ever, ever, I'll never touch that. It doesn't even help me for integration. Yeah. That personal opinion.
Sorry, Vince, you said.
Oh no, you're good. I'm going back on mute.
I think I agree with Vince. I think maybe making it more siloed into specific like ERP, CRM, Dynamics CRM, or sales, because that's a kind of module of its own. And then, I mean, Business Central is, I'm not familiar with it, so I cannot have any input on that, but it looks like it's another product of its own. And I think it'll probably grab more structure on what you're joining. And then I think even within each of those, like ERP has so many modules of its own, like the warehouse, shipping, finance, I guess, all the different little modules on of its own. So I think everybody has a specific thing they come in for, and maybe wants to get to know more or talk to somebody that kind of has a far vast knowledge on that.
Nope, I appreciate that, Raphael. That's great feedback. Another poll I just threw up there is, how often do we do these meetings? What I see in a lot of other organizations is quarterly, in a lot of other territories. But interested to hear your thoughts, especially if we're breaking them down by product. Do we do a CRM CE every quarter, and then maybe a different month of finance and supply chain? I mean, again, open to everybody's thoughts there.
In my humble opinion, and doing it back in Michigan, I'd say with the UG once a month, specific topic. And ideally, it wouldn't be you, Dan, having to host or run every single meeting. We get a good community going.
Yeah, no, that's the plan.
Right.
That's the plan. And I've got Michelle and some others helping me now, but we're always open for more help, more speakers, more.
And then that was exactly what I was going to say. As we categorize these different meetups, I guess, then some of us could we're not the experts, but I have some knowledge on some things that maybe will be helpful for any newcomers or somebody interested in that space, at least. Kind of take our own kind of time of putting something together for you guys.
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
Yeah. I also think of things in a commercial fashion, like give, get. What are people getting out of the meeting? What do they have to give, participate in? Like nobody values something that's free. That's kind of hard with the CRM UG. So wait a minute, let me back that statement up. Although it is a true statement, what I was suggesting is not money being exchanged, but cooperation and collaboration. Just add to the community. Like if you're going to be present, be willing to come off microphone and speak. Be willing to present. Be willing to, as Raphael just said, offer your time as a mentor to less experienced individuals.
Yeah, no, that's great. I like that, Vince. We were talking about it, a few weeks ago at a Meetup leaders retreat, and one of the comments was, really go to a lot of the meetups for networking, right? A lot of the sessions like we presented here, I can go find a lot of that information probably out on YouTube already. So what do I really want to come to a meetup for? It's to meet other people that, like I think you mentioned, Vince, expanding, my network and expanding who I know in the area, how we can help and work together, which again is one of the reasons why I would love to do more in person, if we could figure out where good locations are for that. And maybe it's floating it around, maybe one it's in the north end of Southern California, and then we go, or maybe north LA County, and then Orange County, Long Beach, and then maybe San Diego County or something, and around the
set
year.
a goal. I don't know. I'd say like set a goal to be at 100 members on
Ventura and Santa Barbara counties. I think
we're
always
that's the problem. We go from Ventura, Santa Barbara to San Diego. That's and if you're only going to do a 1 to 2 hour meeting, most people don't want to drive that far, right?
No.
I totally agree. I think maybe it depends on I think it could be fluctuate. Like it could be some actual online, and then maybe some could be like person, but it'd be probably a central zone that everybody could get to. I don't know how that would work, but that's maybe an idea. Like whenever it does happen that it's in person, you could see, okay, how many folks do we have that actually are attending, and what's like the nearest option for all of them.
Right. I agree.
You probably need to grow the user base to get enough people in it to participate in a more local area.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Lee. I just wish I knew how to do that.
I would say work with CRM UG or the DUG.
We are.
No. I mean,
they don't have the list either.
Specifically, have them write up some ghost emails for all of us, and tell them this is a difference. Here's an internal email, here's an external email, and here's a social media post. Have UG do that. Give it to all of us. We customize it or tailor it. Put their first name, last name, size, name, address, phone number, whatever. And then we actually hit the send button. So it's a little bit of work on us, but no, we're helping everyone else understand this community that we are trying to grow. And so it's a commitment. Send it to your coworkers, send it to external, and post it on social. And guess what? Do it again next week or next month, whatever, however fast you want to grow it. We can get
to me as a participant, I find one of the hardest challenges is the level of the expertise of the presenter, maybe versus my knowledge in a particular area. Is it basic, intermediate, or something better? And sometimes the presenters kind of gloss over and you're a beginner, or sometimes you know a lot and you're going, well, I know all that. Where's the value added?
Right.
And I think it needs to be focused more on, if you want to draw in more people, you need to pull in probably more people that want to get interested in this. That's going to grow the base, because you got people that are already interested, but you want to pull in new people that see value in this, and they're more leading edge type people.
Yeah,
And those people will contribute because they're going to get something back. They're going to take it back to their company and they're going to want to share.
No, this is all
That's
good
it.
feedback. Good feedback.
My 2 cents.
No, I appreciate
Love it.
that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Michelle, you have any questions, thoughts?
No, I echo the same. I mean, it's hard for those of us up here in Ventura County to go down all the way to Irvine or the San Diego area for a 2-hour meeting, just like it's hard for everyone to get up. So virtual is a little bit easier, but it's less personal, so we're less attached or less committed to attending. So I think we've got some obstacles to overcome, but still possible.
I'd say maybe an annual one to start, but it's well publicized. You know, it's maybe a company or something that's free, and people can plan way ahead. And as you have these quarterly or maybe a couple monthly calls in here, and every time you mention it, and you get enough interest, so you get 20, 30, 40 people showing up.
Okay. Well, I think that's all good, and I think that's really all the team had today for the agenda. I do have a QR code up there to give some additional feedback, open up a Microsoft form. So feel free to snap a picture of that and fill that out. And it's got room in there if you've got some ideas for sessions, or if you'd like to present or anything like that. But otherwise, feel free. We've got the meetup where you registered for this event. There are discussion boards on there. You can post questions or comments or thoughts out on that discussion board. The leaders get alerted about that, and we'll get back to you or work with you around that as well. So if nobody else has anything, we'll go ahead and wrap a few minutes early, and we'll call it an evening.
Super. Thanks for facilitating and hooking it up.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you,
Nice
everyone.
to
everybody.
meet you all. Bye-bye.
Nice to meet
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.